Our brain has an incredible ability to predict behavior, to, to filter out unnecessary stimuli. One time when you might notice this is if you're in a room with many different conversations going on, you can still pay attention to the conversation in front of you. But this ability is not without its limits. What if an air horn went off at the party? Would your focus shift then? Or what if somebody walked in naked? What if somebody walked into a party and tapped you on the shoulder and handed you a folded envelope? You'd probably feel compelled to open it in that moment, wouldn't you? But what if when you opened it, it was a TikTok from your mom? Now, surely you'll respond to her at your earliest convenience, but was that really worth interrupting your conversation? This is essentially what happens every time you receive a notification on your phone. And even if you're one of the rare few who can receive a notification and then choose to ignore it, a recent study from Florida State University found that just receiving a push notification is as distracting to your brain as actually responding to a text or taking a phone call. This means that every time that girl you knew from high school goes live on Instagram, every time Euphoria emails their menu, every time Team Snapchat sends you a new message, your brain is just as distracted as when you receive something that actually matters. And this doesn't even include the mental cost it takes to switch back and forth between technology and real life. Have you ever had a conversation with someone while they're texting? You can't. The data's in and multitasking is not really a thing. All of this is to say that I think you should turn off your phone notifications. But I'm not here to lecture you about your screen time. The ways that social media have been designed to addict us go beyond our ability to focus on an assignment or have an engaging conversation. There's a war being waged for our attention. And for the most part, we're losing. When I talk about social media, I'm mainly referencing Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and any other digital platform with free access. If you've ever used one of these services, you've noticed that you haven't paid a subscription fee. So, how do these companies make money? Social media's entire monetary model is based on advertising. As you scroll through Instagram, between every few of your friends' photos, an ad will be snuck in there. And the more ads you see, the more money these companies make. So they have an incentive to keep you on their platform for as long as possible. So the next time that Instagram sends you a notification that someone new has posted on their Instagram story, know that they're not hoping that you'll connect with your friends. They're hoping that you'll open up their app, you'll see a new ad, and they can make more money. When we think about advertising, most of us assume that we're largely unaffected by it. We see ads all the time on TV or in the street, and it feels really easy to turn a blind eye. But sometimes ignoring advertisement isn't so simple. Take, for example, a recent bus advertisement in Seoul, South Korea for Dunkin' Donuts coffee. At the conclusion of the ad, a fragrance engineered to smell like Dunkin' Donuts was released into the bus. This might sound like a gimmick, and it is, but this ad was effective. Have you ever tried to ignore a smell? You can't. But that's what also makes this so dangerous. These companies want your attention so badly that they're willing to change the way that you think to get it. And whether it's a coffee smell that you're biologically forced to process or a phone notification that's physically impossible to ignore, your thoughts are no longer your own. Every time that you interact with digital media, you provide more data points for companies to predict your behavior. You might feel confident that Facebook isn't selling certain personal information such as your photo or your street address, but that sort of information is really unnecessary for companies to create targeted content to make your phone as addictive as possible to you and to you alone. And it doesn't take much digital interaction to predict behavior. In one recent study, researchers found that by using nothing but users' previous Facebook likes, they could accurately predict a number of sensitive personal attributes, including sexual orientation, religious views, political views, ethnicity, intelligence, age, and gender. While Facebook might not be sharing this kind of information, it doesn't take much for companies to get it or to gather all the data that they need to predict and influence your behavior. Now, granted, sometimes these predictive algorithms don't seem all that bad. I don't mind a targeted ad if it shows me something that I really like, or when Spotify creates a new playlist just for me. But this is not just about your screen time. These algorithms have the potential to influence behaviors in real life. In 2015, the mysterious Russian Internet Research Agency launched a social media campaign to see if they could convince New Yorkers that there would be free hot dogs available at a certain street corner. And then, from their office in St. Petersburg, they watched as New Yorkers showed up, checked their phones, and walked away disappointed. While the actual number of fooled hot dog eaters is unknown, this experiment was considered a success. And it was only a year later that Russian hackers launched a targeted political misinformation campaign on American social media. It's easy to sit back and say, I'm not worried about my information being online. I'm not doing anything wrong. But this is not the same matter as the NSA monitoring your phone calls. This is a matter of a handful of individuals in Silicon Valley or the leaders of a foreign government twisting your Facebook updates to influence your behavior, not only to sell you a product, but to change the way that you think. The ways that social media have been designed to addict us have reached a point where we can't ignore it unless we actively choose to. And while the long-term solution to this problem might only come with a radical regulatory change to digital privacy policy, in the meantime, don't let Mark Zuckerberg get in your head. Reclaim your mind and turn off your notifications. Thank you.